The story begins with a tense moment between a new teacher and a rebellious student. The girl is a cute, popular high school model, and she is very confident. She believes her word matters much more than an ordinary teacher's. She threatens to ruin his reputation with fake rumors if he doesn't resign. Smugly, she points out that every single teacher assigned to this specific class always ends up quitting. The narrative then shifts back in time to reveal how everything began. The new teacher is thinking about what girls' high schools are really like. People might think they are peaceful gardens full of delicate flowers, but for the male staff, they are actually full of hidden thorns. Still, he isn't scared of the challenge. He gathers his courage and gets ready for his first day. Meanwhile, in the staff room, the other teachers are gossiping about the new guy. They talk about how fast teachers quit at this school, and they blame it all on Class 1A. The staff thinks the new teacher is just an easy target for a room full of troublemakers. They even start placing bets on whether he will last a single week. Suddenly, Jimmy Taro speaks up. He reveals he has been standing in the room the whole time. He calmly introduces himself to his shocked co-workers. When they hear he is just a recent graduate, they feel sorry for him and joke that the bet is already over. Another teacher, Tenjiku, steps in to apologize for how they are acting. She explains that everyone is just stressed because teachers keep leaving, but before she can finish, she realizes he has already left the room. She is surprised that he is heading to class 10 minutes early, and she worries he has no idea he is walking into the worst class in the school. Walking through the courtyard, he reaches his classroom but waits quietly outside until the bell rings. From the hallway, he listens as the students joke about getting another homeroom teacher. They fully expect this new guy to give up and run away just like all the others did. Without making a sound, he steps inside and writes his name on the board. The girls are completely surprised by his sudden entrance as he formally introduces himself as their new math teacher. The students are confused because he looks so plain. They whisper to each other about how boring he seems. He calmly asks the class to quiet down, but no one listens. Taking charge, one of the girls stands up and yells for everyone's attention. She makes fun of him by telling the class to raise their hands if they have anything to say to Mr. Boring. Instead of getting mad, he praises her energy and politely corrects his name. Acting innocent, she asks if he has ever had a girlfriend. This makes the whole class burst into mean laughter. They keep making fun of his plain looks, saying a guy like him could never get a date. To their surprise, he simply agrees. He tells them he is single and plans to dedicate his entire life to teaching. The girls just find this funnier, openly pitying him for caring more about his job than having a personal life. Moving on, he asks if there are any other questions. Then, he calls on the loud student, specifically referring to her as attendance number 24, Hananaka Momo. She is surprised but happy that he already memorized her name. She proudly talks about who she is, a 16-year-old popular model for a trendy teen magazine. Completely ignoring his authority, Hananaka Momo tells him she doesn't like him. She snatches a folder right off his desk and bluntly tells him he should just quit. A little while later, he walks out of the classroom with a chalk eraser resting funny on top of his head. Tenjiku sees him in the hallway and immediately asks what happened to make him look so messy. He brushes it off like it's no big deal, saying he just combined their homeroom time with a math lesson. She doesn't believe his excuse for a second. She knows the students are just bullying him. Guessing that Hananaka Momo is the one leading the pranks, she warns him about the teen's background. Since the young model used to be a child actor, she is used to getting her way. Everyone always treats her like a princess, which gave her a massive ego to do whatever she wants. Tenjiku explains that the teen is extremely hard to deal with. Whenever past teachers tried to give her rules, she would make up terrible fake stories about them mistreating her. Because of these fake rumors, the school always had to fire them right away. Tenjiku apologizes for dropping all this heavy news on his very first day and offers to take him out for a drink to help him relax. He politely turns down the offer. He explains that his job is only to teach and guide students while they are at school, so he doesn't do anything related to work on his own time. Feeling a little let down, Tenjiku watches as he thanks her for letting him use her handkerchief to wipe the chalk dust off his head. Then, he heads off to his next class. Returning to Class 1A, he surprises the students again. Hananaka Momo demands to know why he is there for physics when he is supposed to be the math teacher. He explains that he has teaching licenses for several different subjects, so he will be teaching multiple classes for them. Realizing that their grades are now completely in his hands, the students get very nervous. He calmly reminds them that if they fail his classes, they will be held back a year. He urges them to take their studies seriously. As he turns around to tell them to open their books, Hananaka Momo purposefully spills juice all over his back. Pretending it is just a clumsy accident, she makes fun of him. She dares him to get mad, smugly pointing out that if he loses his temper, he will get fired on the spot. Not bothered at all, he simply takes the juice box away. He accepts her fake apology, but firmly states that drinking in class is completely against school rules. He orders her to go to the counseling room for detention after school. The rest of the class immediately starts whispering. They openly make fun of her for getting detention and risking her grades over such a silly prank. Hananaka Momo glares at the whispering girls, shutting them up instantly. Later, sitting alone on the stairs, she feels super frustrated that he doesn't react to her teasing. She wonders if he is just used to people treating him badly. Suddenly, her manager calls with bad news. Her upcoming spot on a TV show has been cancelled. She tries to act like she doesn't care, claiming her cute looks will easily get her another job. But the moment she hangs up, she angrily throws her phone to the ground. She is desperate to at least be in control at school. Later, Jimmy Taro arrives at the counseling room for her detention. He finds her sitting casually on top of a desk, acting like she is the boss. She makes fun of him for being late, joking that making a girl wait is exactly why he doesn't have a girlfriend. He calmly tells her he is right on time and asks why she changed out of her school uniform. She playfully says she is giving him a chance to fall in love with her, but then she drops the act. Frustrated that he won't quit, she decides to play her final card. She threatens to falsely accuse him of serious misconduct to force him to quit. She smugly reminds him that people will always believe a popular teen model over a boring teacher. Realizing her plan is to force him to quit using a fake scandal, he acknowledges her threat. He notes that a regular teacher might just ignore her, but this crosses a line he can no longer ignore. Calling her formally by her attendance number, he loosens his tie and declares that it is finally time to teach her a real lesson. Confused and a little alarmed, she asks if he is scared she will scream. Instead of backing down, he suddenly throws open the door and yells for help himself. He loudly claims that she is the one bothering him. Panicking, she rushes toward him, arguing that no one will ever believe his cries for help. He asks if she is really sure about that, just as Tenjiku and the other staff members come running to see what is going on. Seeing the crowd gather, Hananaka Momo instantly changes her act. Playing the innocent victim, she falsely accuses him of cornering her and making her uncomfortable. Tenjiku points out that it was actually Jimmy Taro who shouted for help, not the student. However, the other teachers aren't so sure. They doubt a popular high school girl would ever flirt with such a plain-looking guy. They warn him that this situation is a huge problem and that just quitting won't fix it. He calmly agrees, noting that if the accusations were true, they would constitute a serious legal matter. He states that he will formally deny the claims and cooperate with any investigation. Pointing out that the situation can be objectively examined, he asks whether she is prepared to proceed with a formal inquiry. He adds that the evidence would clarify what actually happened. Hearing this solid logic, the staff begins to whisper among themselves. They realize the young model might actually be the one causing all the trouble. Driven into a corner and tearing up, she completely loses her temper and shoves him hard. The other teachers quickly step in to hold her back as she yells, furious that he outsmarted her. Getting knocked to the floor, he casually brushes it off like it is just part of the job. He then mentions that the past teachers she forced to quit probably felt the exact same helplessness she is feeling right now. The staff scolds her harshly, warning her that she has gone way too far. They point out that she will be lucky if she only gets suspended. Considering the fake accusations and attacking a staff member, she is now facing severe trouble that could ruin her future. Her eyes widen in horror as reality finally sets in. Panicking that her cute image and modeling career will be destroyed, she breaks down. She desperately begs for forgiveness, promising to do whatever he wants and be a good student from now on. Holding her to her promise, he tells her to remember just one thing. The school is a garden meant to help her grow, and she is a blooming flower. He simply asks her to have a good heart and live a happy life. The entire room is shocked by how forgiving he is. Confused as to why he isn't trying to get revenge after everything she did, she asks him why he is being so nice. He gently explains that he doesn't want payback. Since she finally understands that her actions were wrong, he has successfully guided her on the right path. That is his only real duty as a teacher. Looking up at him, she cannot help but notice that he actually has a very nice smile for such a plain-looking guy. Overwhelmed by his unexpected kindness, she starts to cry. She confesses that working in the entertainment world has been really hard, and she has secretly wanted to quit for a long time. She admits that being a popular model is mostly just for show. Not being able to get TV roles makes her feel deeply frustrated every single day. Crying, she apologizes for taking all her anger out on him. Tenjiku sits next to her to comfort her. She promises the girl that everything will be okay now that she understands what she did wrong. Suddenly, he interrupts this sweet moment. He announces that his shift is officially over and he is going home. The other teachers are shocked. They beg him to stay since they are right in the middle of helping his troubled student. They point out that he was just acting like the perfect teacher, so he should at least stay until everything is sorted out. He coldly replies that a student's personal career problems are not part of his job. He refuses to get involved in anything outside of his strict daily duties. He bluntly tells them he is not her father or her manager, promising once again to stay a single man and dedicate his life only to teaching. He formally says goodbye to her, Tenjiku, Amari, and Akashi. Then, he casually walks right out the door. The rest of the staff is left completely speechless by how cold he acted. Meanwhile, the young model just wipes her tears and smiles. She playfully agrees that his terrible attitude is exactly why he is still single. After he leaves, the other teachers suddenly realize something very strange. They never actually told him their names. They wonder how he magically knew exactly who they were. They also remember the weird rumors that he holds several different teaching licenses, even though he is supposed to be a brand new graduate. Outside in the hallway, a few other girls were secretly watching the whole breakdown. They listen in and feel annoyed by the model's sudden change of heart. They roll their eyes at her complaints about acting and modeling. Deciding she is just a pretty face they can't trust, they plan to cause major trouble for both her and the new teacher. Sneaking into an empty classroom, they write a fake rumor on the chalkboard. They hope this messy school drama will be enough to make both of them leave the school for good. The next day in the staff room, the teachers whisper about what happened yesterday afternoon. They are amazed that the plain-looking teacher actually managed to handle the popular teen model. Suddenly, Tenjiku-sensei rushes in and urgently calls Jimmy to Class 1A. As they hurry down the hallway, she explains the harsh truth about the school's untouchable students. Because many of these girls come from influential families, the school tends to overlook their behavior. This means they basically never get in trouble. Meanwhile, the other students gossip and admire the 4 elite girls who truly run Class 1A. This powerful group includes Yabu Tsubaki, the beautiful top-ranked freshman and daughter of a famous politician; Tsutsuji Erika, the smart heir to a huge company; Okuna Nazasa, the athletic star who took the volleyball team to nationals; and Oda Maki, an amazing artist with tons of social media followers. Along with Momo, everyone thinks these girls live in a completely different world from the rest of the school. Back in the classroom, the young model sees the mean rumor written on the chalkboard. Shocked, she demands to know who wrote it, but her classmates pretend they don't know anything, saying it has been there all morning. She quickly erases the board. Guessing exactly who did it, she storms out of the room, only to find the 4 elite girls blocking her path. They completely ignore how upset she is and casually chat among themselves about their morning plans. Angry, Momo confronts the politician's daughter and directly accuses her of writing the message. Without caring at all, Tsubaki proudly admits she did it. Heartbroken, the model asks why her supposed friends would do something so mean. Erika harshly laughs at her for ever thinking they were actually friends. Tsubaki loudly calls her a traitor for trying to get on the new teacher's good side. Maki jumps in too, telling the whole hallway that she claims the model caused a scene involving the teacher yesterday. Hearing this, the students around them act disgusted. They make fun of Momo's terrible taste in guys, laughing that she'd get involved with someone as boring as him. Having successfully ruined Momo's popularity, the group's leader coldly tells the upset model to never speak to them or show her face around them ever again. Tenjiku and Jimmy finally arrive at the classroom. Angry about the mean writing on the chalkboard, Tenjiku demands to know who did it, but the whole class stays totally silent. Instead of pushing the issue, Jimmy calmly asks her to leave so he can start the first period. Confused by why he isn't mad, she leaves the room feeling frustrated. When Momo sits down, she finds her desk is also covered in nasty messages. Clenching her teeth, the upset model bitterly blames the new teacher for completely ruining her reputation. After class, she gets so mad that she angrily tosses her ruined textbook at him. She shoves her phone in his face, showing him a viral article online that is spreading the fake rumor about her flirting with him. Panicking that her manager will be furious and her modeling career is officially over, she breaks down and says she wants to drop out of school entirely. He genuinely asks if she is okay. He explains that as a teacher, it is his job to make sure her school life is comfortable. He promises to order her a brand new textbook right away to replace the ruined one. Surprised by his sudden kindness, she calms down for a second before demanding that he fix her outside career problems too. Sticking to his strict rules, he repeats that he will absolutely not get involved in anything outside of her school life. He turns to leave, casually reminding her not to be late for her physics class. Furious, she promises to ruin his job if she ends up losing hers. Not bothered at all, he simply tells her to go ahead and try as he walks away. Meanwhile, her classmates keep gossiping. They can't believe a popular model would risk her reputation over such a pointless situation instead of staying out of trouble. As they enjoy seeing her completely alone and friendless, one student suddenly remembers a mysterious and similar situation that happened with their last homeroom teacher. The scene changes to the school nurse's office, where an injured student covered in bandages is reading the viral news about the model on her phone. Suddenly, Tsubaki walks through the door, announcing that she has something important to share. Walking down the hall, the elite group asks Tsubaki why she went to the nurse's office. She says she was checking on a classmate who was absent a lot. When Nazasa kind of remembers the girl, Tsubaki decides to share an unsettling story from the school's past. She talks about a caring former teacher who had to deal with two very different students, a cute but rebellious troublemaker and a quiet girl who always skipped class. The troublemaker constantly picked on the man, but the quiet girl found comfort in being around him. Eventually, the rebellious student set up a mean prank that forced him to quit his job. To this day, the quiet girl holds a strong grudge against the troublemaker, firmly believing that the wrong person was forced to leave the school. Somewhere else in the hallway, Momo is furious about the constant bullying she is going through. She is very frustrated that her classmates are calling her awful names despite her popularity. Suddenly, she spots Jimmy-sensei standing with Tenjiku. Before he can scold the young model for skipping homeroom, she frantically tries to explain that someone just ruined her indoor shoes. Suddenly, they look over at the nearby stairs and see that another student has fallen down. Tenjiku immediately panics, but the math teacher stays perfectly calm. He walks over to the injured girl, noticing that she is awake and doesn't seem badly hurt. The fallen student quietly apologizes, saying she just slipped while walking down. Recognizing her right away, he calls her by her attendance number and formally addresses her as Banri Mari from Class 1A. Deciding to call an ambulance just to be safe, he chooses to go to the hospital with her, leaving his panicked co-worker to handle the rest of the morning duties. Before he leaves, Tenjiku hesitates and asks Jimmy if he already knew the injured student. She explains that the girl is known for skipping class and hiding in the nurse's office, so much that her classmates barely even know her name. She is surprised that he memorized it so fast, especially since he is a new teacher. He simply says it is his basic duty as an educator and walks away. Hiding behind a wall, Momo listens to the whole conversation. Realizing she completely forgot to tell them about her ruined shoes, she decides to go borrow some extra supplies instead. At the hospital, he checks on Banri Marie, confirming that she only sprained her left ankle. Filled with emotion, she suddenly hugs him and tells him how grateful she is. She confesses that because of her poor health and missing so much school, she has been completely alone. Hearing someone call her by her real name for the first time in forever makes her incredibly happy. Desperate for a friend, she tearfully begs him not to quit or leave her behind like everyone else has. The next day at school, the bullying against the young model gets much worse. She gets to class and finds her desk covered in mean insults again. Her classmates laugh as she frantically tries to clean it up. By lunchtime, her food is completely ruined, and her textbooks, notebooks, and dictionary are all messed up. During English class, the teacher harshly scolds her for not having her school supplies, coldly telling her that just being cute won't get her through life. Frustrated by taking the blame, she snaps, yells something mean at the older woman, and storms out of the room feeling hungry and miserable. Hoping to save her day, she opens her locker, only to find her spare clothes cut to pieces. As she yells out in frustration, Maki purposely throws a full drink can at her, mockingly saying sorry for letting it slip. Tsubaki, Erika, and Nazasa surround her, making fun of her ruined clothes. They laugh and tell her she should cry for the teacher to come save her. Left completely alone and embarrassed, she thinks about how cruel they are being. In a bitter moment, she realizes she is finally getting a taste of her own medicine. She is feeling the exact same helplessness she once forced on her old teachers. Staring into her open locker, the upset model finds a mean word written inside. Unable to hold back her feelings, she loudly yells that she isn't ugly, but actually super cute. Suddenly, Jimmy appears right beside her. Startled by him showing up out of nowhere, she jumps backward and falls hard onto the floor. A passing teacher sees this and immediately assumes the troublemaking student is bothering the new guy again, just like the nasty rumors said. Panicking, she tries to lie, claiming he is the one bothering her and demanding he quit. But the teachers completely ignore her desperate excuses. Frustrated and embarrassed, she yells at the plain-looking man, calling him stupid and blaming him for just standing there. Not bothered by her insults at all, he calmly stands up and starts handing her a huge pile of supplies. He gives her fresh clothes, new indoor shoes, and brand new notebooks and pens to replace everything that was ruined. He even gives her cleaning wipes for her desk and some bread since her lunch was destroyed. Watching this amazing level of preparation, the other teacher jokes and asks if he has a magic pocket. Completely shocked by his overwhelming kindness, she quietly asks why he is doing all of this for her. He simply answers that as long as she is his student, he will always be there to support her. She stands there in silence, completely moved by his words. From a distance, Banri Mari watches this sweet moment with a strange, intense look in her eyes. Later, during PE class, Tsubaki continues the unsettling story she started that morning. She reveals that after the previous teacher was forced to quit, the stress became too much for him, and he had to leave for his own well-being. While Nazasa and Maki meanly make fun of the old teacher for being weak, Erika points out that everyone has a breaking point. Dropping a huge twist, the politician's daughter clarifies that the troublemaking student wasn't actually the one who gave the man that final push. Meanwhile, out in the hallway, the young model and the new teacher turn around to see the quiet, frequent absentee standing right behind them. Staring at him with an intense look, the frail girl begs him not to leave her while gripping her bandaged arm tightly. The bystanders jump back in fear as Banri suddenly grabs a dangerous object, making scary threats just to get attention. Ignoring the panicked warnings of the other teachers, Jimmy Taro quickly steps right up to her to handle the situation. A little later, Momo helps a fainting Tenjiku to the nurse's office. The young model playfully teases the teacher for passing out over such a minor incident, surprised by how easily scared she is. As Momo turns to leave, the teacher sincerely praises her for being kind deep down. Even though Momo tries to brush off the compliment by bringing up her past bad behavior, she quietly thanks the older woman for standing up for her when the mean rumors first appeared on the chalkboard. Meanwhile, lying in a nearby recovery bed, the quiet truant thinks about how badly she needs attention. She remembers the painful memories of being completely ignored by her classmates and brushed off by her busy parents. This loneliness is what drove her to seek extreme validation from her teachers. Reaching her hand toward the ceiling, she quietly wishes for the new math teacher. Back in the staff room, an angry female teacher yells at the new math teacher for how recklessly he handled the dangerous student. She is terrified of getting in trouble with the school board if things had gone wrong. She praises Akashi and Sakai for being there to help, but the two men quickly admit they were completely useless during the scary moment. They explain that the new guy completely surprised them by safely disarming the upset girl in the blink of an eye. The angry teacher continues her rant, reminding everyone that the frail girl is the biggest troublemaker in the school. She shares a chilling story from the past, explaining that the girl once showed up at their old co-worker's house and pulled the exact same extreme stunt to manipulate him. This event is what ultimately caused the former teacher to quit from overwhelming stress. Staying perfectly calm despite the panic, the new teacher shockingly reveals that the girl's extreme actions are nothing but a bluff. He confidently asserts that she never actually intended to hurt herself, and even her fall down the stairs that morning may have been staged to draw concern and attention. The other teachers are shocked by how cold he sounds. They argue that only the girl truly knows how she feels. Not bothered at all, he simply claims that his teaching instincts make the truth obvious. Checking the clock, he suddenly announces that his shift is over and leaves the stunned staff behind. Meanwhile, Bonri Marie is officially admitted to the hospital, but she doesn't stay long. That night, a nurse finds her bed empty. Barefoot and disoriented, the frail girl wanders the dark streets, repeatedly calling out for the new teacher. The next morning, Tenjiku panics when she hears the girl ran away, realizing the new math teacher isn't at school yet, since he always arrives exactly on time and doesn't run any morning clubs. She frantically warns the staff that things are getting bad. Overhearing the noise, Momo realizes what is happening, just as the troubled girl is spotted standing precariously near the edge of the school's rooftop. From the ground below, the staff screams for her to step back. One angry teacher bitterly curses the absent math teacher, forever claiming the girl wouldn't actually go through with her dangerous threats. Tenjiku and Momo sprint up to the roof. Standing near the ledge, Banrimari cries out in sadness, devastated that the new teacher hasn't come to save her. She reveals she spent the whole night wandering the streets looking for him. Stepping forward, the young model tries to connect with the upset girl. She admits that even though she doesn't know everything, she is dealing with her own heavy problems right now and totally understands what it feels like to be completely alone. Furious, the quiet absentee yells at her. She refuses to be compared to a spoiled brat who does whatever she wants. She screams that while the model never cared about their old teacher, Suzuki, he was the only person who truly mattered to her. To the absolute shock of both the absentee and the older teacher, the model completely swallows her pride and sincerely apologizes. Admitting she used to be cruel, she confesses she doesn't even remember the old teacher's name, but she validates how important he clearly was to her classmate. However, she firmly points out how hypocritical the situation is. She bluntly tells the frail girl that faking dramatic stunts and putting herself in serious danger is really just another toxic form of the exact same bullying she used to do to the staff. Momo keeps pushing Banri, pointing out that there are much better ways to prove a point than seeking attention through dangerous stunts. The young model bluntly adds that this toxic behavior is exactly why she has no friends. Furious, the truant screams at her to shut up and stop interfering, responding with equally immature insults. As their heated argument gets worse, the frail girl suddenly loses her footing and tumbles backward over the edge. The young model desperately lunges to grab her hand, but she is a second too late. Suddenly, Jimmy Taro leaps from the rooftop straight after the falling girl. He manages to catch her in midair and grabs onto a sturdy tree branch just before they hit the ground. Even though it is an incredibly close call, they both survive the scary fall completely unharmed. The other teachers rush over in a panic. They scold his reckless actions while also thanking the heavens for the absolute miracle that they survived. Completely unfazed, the math teacher calmly asks if the girl is hurt. He then reveals exactly how he knew her dramatic stunts were always a fake out. Noting that she is right-handed, he explains that she only ever made tiny safe marks on her other arm, just enough to look scary, but never anything that would actually cause real damage. He assures her that as a watchful teacher, he pays attention to everything she does. Keeping his promise, he vows that he will never quit or abandon her, meaning she no longer needs to use extreme stunts to get his attention. Overwhelmed with relief, she breaks down in tears before finally offering a real smile. Staying true to his strict professional rules, he quickly shifts the mood back to a professional tone. He reminds her to respect his privacy after school hours, wear her uniform properly, and stop showing up late to class. As he casually walks away, Tenjiku-sensei watches him in absolute amazement. Realizing he threw himself off a building without a single second of hesitation to save a student, she realizes that Jimmy Taro is much more than a seemingly ordinary and unremarkable man. She is left wondering who he truly is. Later that evening, Momo sits in the bath, feeling very frustrated. Thinking about the rooftop rescue, she feels totally defeated because she couldn't do anything to help, while the plain-looking teacher confidently acted like a hero. She hits the wall, angry that he stole the spotlight so easily. The next day in math class, Jimmy calls on Banri Marie to answer a question about a graph. The quiet girl happily answers, showing a clear and positive change in her attitude. Meanwhile, in the staff room, the teachers gossip about how much both girls have changed. They are amazed that the truant stopped skipping class and that the young model still comes to school every day, even though she is dealing with intense online bullying. They give the new math teacher all the credit for helping the troubled students, but Tenjiku privately suspects there is a lot more to him than he lets on. Just then, the new teacher walks into the staff room. The others immediately shower him with praise for his great work, admitting they used to think he was a bad hire. However, he completely ignores their compliments and casually walks right back out the door, simply saying it is time for his next lesson. The other teachers are annoyed that he just brushed them off. Walking down the hallway, he runs into the elite group: Tsubaki, Erika, Nazasa, and Maki. The politician's daughter claps for his heroic dive off the roof, saying he is much braver than the old teachers who just ran away. She casually adds how surprising it is that a fragile girl who rarely left the nurse's office would cause such a huge fuss. Instead of accepting the praise, he formally calls her by her attendance number, Yabu Tsubaki. He points out that the frail girl probably hid in the nurse's office just to avoid making a certain someone angry. He then explains the real plan. Knowing the young model was all alone and only relying on the school staff, Banri set up the rooftop stunt to force him to quit. This smart move was meant to destroy the model's last bit of support, ruining two things at once to get payback for their old teacher, Suzuki. Erika quickly steps in, shocked by these serious claims. Calling her by her attendance number, Tsutsuji Erika, he explains that if this complicated revenge plan is the real truth, then he completely misunderstood the situation. He used to think the truant just wanted his attention, but he admits he was wrong. He continues his guess, suggesting the girl might have carelessly wished for a dangerous accident on the roof, hoping she wouldn't actually get hurt. Suddenly, Nazasa kicks him hard, knocking him to the floor. She demands he stop pushing his crazy theories on them and aggressively questions who he thinks he is. Staying perfectly calm on the ground, he formally addresses her as attendance number 3, Okuna Nazasasa. Annoyed that he isn't reacting, the athletic star steps on him, coldly declaring that teachers mean absolutely nothing to them. She warns him to bring real proof the next time he makes such wild guesses. Just then, Tenjiku-sensei rushes over, demanding to know what the girls are doing. Acting completely innocent, the athletic student claims the teacher just fell over by himself. Maki meanly laughs at him, making fun of him for getting knocked down so easily. Not bothered at all, he addresses the artist by her attendance number, casually pointing out that she just stepped on his glasses, giggling like it's no big deal. The 4 elite girls walk away. Shocked that the elite group attacked again, the female teacher checks on him, insisting that this bad behavior has to stop, but he brushes off her worry, firmly stating that he will never quit because he is a teacher. Noting that the school day is over, he suddenly excuses himself and walks away, completely ignoring her asking him to wait. As he leaves, she spots a small badge on the ground. She picks it up and looks at the mysterious keychain, which has JA and the number 66 carved into it. Going back to the staff room, she tries to solve the mystery. Another teacher, Amari, notices it and explains that it is probably a graduation gift. He says JA is likely short for a high school name, just like their own school uses a 3-letter code, and 66 means the school's 66th graduating class. He suggests that if she searches online, she could easily find the exact school. After he leaves, she immediately starts searching the internet for high schools with that code. Even though she feels a little guilty for snooping into her co-worker's private life, she is just too curious. She is completely sure that he isn't just a normal guy, and she becomes desperate to find out who he really is. After searching the web, she finally finds a match: Juan Private School. Tenjiku kind of remembers hearing that name attached to a massive 10-year-old scandal involving a homeroom teacher doing unbelievable things. Remembering that the suspect in the news was only known by the letter J, she tries to push away her growing worries, desperately hoping her scary guess is wrong. However, as she reads the old news articles, her eyes widen in pure shock. The story describes a messy classroom full of troublemakers, just like their own Class 1A. This class was run by a strange teacher who absolutely refused to quit, no matter what happened. The report describes this mysterious J as a cold, emotionless man who somehow avoided major punishment for his terrible actions, getting only a light warning. The article ends by talking about how angry the public was, with people terrified that the man might return to his dangerous old ways one day. Staring at the computer screen in total disbelief, the pieces finally come together. She realizes with chilling certainty that their new, plain-looking colleague is likely this infamous, terrifying teacher. This makes him the only person who can truly handle the troublemakers of Class 1A. Tenjiku struggles to understand the scary article, completely unaware that Jimmy is standing right behind her. She jumps in fear as he calmly asks for his keychain back, explaining that it is very important to him. After quickly handing it over, she nervously asks if he is mad at her for snooping into his private life. Not bothered at all, he simply says he doesn't mind people finding out the truth about him and casually walks away. Relieved, she convinces herself that she must have made a mistake, feeling guilty for ever thinking her co-worker was a terrible person. However, out in the hallway, the math teacher pulls out a strangely stained cloth. He carefully wraps the keychain inside it before walking away. The next day, the students have a cooking class where they learn to make cupcakes. Maki bakes a beautiful batch that looks like they came from a real bakery, getting lots of praise from her classmates. Enjoying the attention, the talented artist quietly brags about how she recently made friends with editors at a big fashion magazine. Nearby, Momo stares sadly at her own completely ruined cupcakes. Bonri meanly makes fun of her baking and her failing modeling career. The quiet girl then proudly announces that she put her whole heart into her own cupcakes, making them specially for the math teacher. Annoyed that they are nearby, Maki meanly drops a pile of dirty dishes right on top of both of their cupcakes. She mockingly thanks the two creeps for volunteering to clean up the mess. When the former model gets angry and confronts her, the artist coldly tells Momo to stop using her first name since they aren't friends anymore. She follows that up by adding a hurtful remark about Momo's appearance. Before the model can respond, Bonri throws her ruined cupcakes in anger at the bully. Shocked, Momo asks why she is suddenly standing up for her, but Bonri makes it clear that she doesn't care about the model at all. She is just furious that her special gift for the teacher was ruined. Covered in messy cake, the artist glares at both of them, boiling with anger. Tsubaki walks up from behind and stops the fight. She tells Maki to stop picking fights with the lower-class students because it is getting annoying to watch. Leaving the artist to clean up the messy kitchen all by herself, the politician's daughter and Nazasa walk out of the room. Even though Erika looks a little unsure, she stays quiet and just follows the other two out the door. Left behind in the classroom, the isolated artist stands in an awkward silence with Momo and Bonri. The former model asks if it actually feels good to hang around that toxic group when treat her as if she has no say in the group. She points out that back when she was still part of the friend group, she took all the negative attention, which let the artist comfortably show off her talents. Now that her shield is gone, the artist has hit rock bottom. Reminding her that she is already popular online all by herself, the former model asks why she even needs to stick with those mean girls. Getting defensive and feeling very insecure, the artist coldly claims she is having the best time of her life. She insists things would be much better if the model wasn't around at all. She tells her old friend to back off, then leaves the room, completely unaware that Jimmy-sensei is standing quietly in the hallway. Inside the room, the former model complains loudly about being punished with extra cleanup duty when Maki clearly started the whole thing. The math teacher calmly explains that according to the cooking teacher, she and Banri were the ones who made the fight physical. Still heartbroken, the quiet girl mourns her smashed cupcakes. Changing the subject, the former model asks why he is staying so late, since he always leaves exactly on time. He explains that as their homeroom teacher, he has to handle this situation himself, but since he officially filled out a form to get paid for working overtime, it still counts as his regular job. As the girls keep scrubbing the counters, the former model wonders out loud why Maki is so desperate to stay in such a bad friend group. Bonri points out that finding the courage to leave toxic friends is easier said than done. She also takes a quick shot at the model for being completely alone from the very beginning. As the two girls start arguing again, the teacher silently reads one of the mean, viral articles about the model on his phone, thinking about what to do next. Meanwhile, the real person writing those nasty articles is finally revealed. Feeling jealous and angry about being left out with the others earlier, Maki furiously types away on her phone. She has already been using fake accounts to ruin her old friend's name, but she is still deeply jealous of the model's cute face, convinces herself that her friend's appearance isn't natural. Deciding that her current online bullying isn't enough, she plans a new way to cause trouble for her target. She wants to make sure the damage is so bad that even the new math teacher won't be able to save her. At school, everyone knows who is popular and who isn't. A group of girls trying to suck up to Maki surrounds her, showering her with compliments about her cute bag and stylish charms. But the flattering mood changes the second Momo walks by. The other girls immediately notice that the former model is wearing the exact same bag and accessories. They bluntly whisper that the items look way better on the teen model, completely ruining the talented artist's fashion moment. Hearing this embarrassing comparison, the artist realizes her old friend is becoming a serious threat to her popularity. Later, Jimmy calls the struggling model into the counseling room. Thinking he has finally fallen for her cute looks after their past meetings, she playfully suggests they start over and date. Completely ignoring her flirting, he bluntly tells her the real reason for the meeting. She ranked dead last on her recent exams, sitting at the very bottom of the class in 238th place. Tenjiku hears the noise and steps into the room. Seeing the terrible test scores, she firmly scolds the teen. Even though she feels bad about how much stress the girl is under, she warns her that failing grades will ruin whatever is left of her modeling career and after-school activities. Frustrated, the young model complains that she has already hit rock bottom and hates studying. She feels totally overwhelmed by the pressure to push herself even harder. Not moved by her excuses at all, the math teacher confirms that if she doesn't try harder, she will definitely have to repeat the grade. This leaves her in a state of total panic. Afterward, in the staff room, the older teacher says how bad she feels for the girl's current situation. The math teacher points out how far she has fallen, noting that before the recent drama, the teen was doing amazing in the entertainment business and had a lot to lose. Tenjiku keeps feeling sorry for the young model's ruined career, noting she was right on the edge of a huge break before the scandal happened. She wishes they could do more to help her out of this slump. Jimmy firmly reminds her that their only job as teachers is to make sure the girl doesn't fail her classes. Frustrated by his cold attitude, the older teacher accidentally speaks her thoughts out loud, muttering that the online rumors about him being an emotionless robot must be true. Realizing her huge mistake, she frantically apologizes. She reasons out loud that a man who jumped off a roof to save a student couldn't possibly be a terrible person. She desperately begs him to show her the warm smile he sometimes gives the girls. He meets her panic with dead silence before bluntly asking if smiling is part of his job description. Meanwhile, in the school library, the former model tries to study. Her focus breaks when a group of girls walking by loudly praises Maki's online fashion tips. When one girl asks if they used to be fans of Momo, the others cruelly write the former model off as old news. Furious, she snaps at them to be quiet so she can focus on her work. Settling back down, she sadly scrolls through her old friend's social media page. Even though she knows the girl has great fashion sense, she feels hurt, realizing that the other girls weren't really her friends. Bonri suddenly appears, asking if the model is actually studying. The teen confidently says she is determined to pass her classes and make a huge comeback in the modeling world. However, seeing online comments calling the artist cuter than her makes her feel insecure again. She desperately asks the quiet girl to tell her she is prettier than her rival. The frail girl bluntly refuses to pick either of them, but she smartly points out that even though the artist is getting popular as a high school fashion queen, the former model still has 10 times as many followers and has no real reason to feel threatened. Touched by the unexpected support, the teen gets tears in her eyes. The moment is interrupted when the quiet girl points out that the model's career is still facing challenges. As the two girls immediately start arguing over the insult, the talented artist suddenly walks up to their table, making fun of the two lonely girls. Annoyed by the sudden interruption, Momo demands to know what her old friend wants. Maki casually brings up how she recently made friends with the fashion magazine editors. The former model makes fun of the job, laughing at the idea of a big magazine bringing on an intern who doesn't know anything. However, Maki quickly shuts down the insult. Pretending to be polite, she acts like she is better than the teen and reminds her that it is basic manners to greet a senior coworker with respect. Confused by the title, the former model asks what she means. Dropping a massive surprise, the artist smugly reveals that the editors loved her design ideas so much that they officially hired her as a real model. Fake wishing her rival luck now that they are competing in the exact same business, the newly crowned model walks away, leaving her old friend completely stunned. Internally panicking, the teen desperately hopes this shocking new update won't completely destroy her own struggling career. Desperate for advice, Momo texts her manager to talk about her job. After waiting for hours without getting any reply, she sits alone on the stairs, feeling like a total failure. She feels overwhelmed trying to balance school and work and starts losing motivation to study. When the teachers find out she is giving up on her schoolwork, Tenjiku panics. With makeup exams only a week away, she asks Banri what happened. The quiet girl simply says the former model just lost all her motivation. The older teacher begs Jimmy to step in, warning him that if the girl has to repeat the grade, her career will be ruined forever. Not bothered at all, the math teacher completely ignores the emergency. Instead, he calmly collects Banri's chemistry homework and walks away, leaving his coworker shocked by how little he cares. Meanwhile, the upset teen scrolls through Maki's social media, seeing the talented artist teasing a secret announcement about her new modeling job. The former model boils with jealousy. She bitterly picks apart her rival's heavily edited pictures and short height, wondering who the girl had to bribe to get the gig. Her frustration turns into overwhelming sadness when she accidentally overhears the artist gossiping with Nazasa, Erika, and Tsubaki in a nearby hallway. The new model proudly confirms the rumors about her job and encourages her friends to spread the news. The group makes fun of their old friend's downfall, laughing at her terrible grades and ruined popularity. The artist smugly brags that it took almost no effort to steal the almighty model's career, claiming it just proves the teen was never actually special. When the athletic star warns her not to get too lazy about her own schoolwork, the artist rudely insults the whole group's intelligence, bragging that she is way smarter than the rest of them anyway. Listening to this cruel conversation from the shadows, Momo is deeply hurt. Feeling completely crushed and unable to defend herself, she realizes she has truly hit rock bottom. Later, while walking outside, she spots a magazine with her rival right on the cover. Shocked and heartbroken, she remembers when she used to be the one on all the front pages. Unable to accept the harsh truth that her cute looks aren't enough anymore, she furiously throws the magazine to the ground. Just by chance, the math teacher happens to be walking by. Completely missing the fact that she is having a breakdown, he casually mentions that she is exactly who he was looking for because she still hasn't turned in her chemistry homework. Pushed to her absolute limit, she snaps. Grabbing him tightly by the shirt, she desperately begs him to tell her she is still cute and valuable. She cries and vents her frustration at the man in glasses, clearly upset. Despite her tears, he shows absolutely zero emotion. She frantically begs him to just call her cute. Completely misunderstanding her desperate need for comfort as a romantic confession, he formally rejects her, apologizing that he doesn't have feelings for her. Moving right past the awkward moment, he bluntly reminds her that no matter how cute she is, it won't help her pass her classes. Then, he asks for her chemistry homework all over again. Frustrated that he doesn't understand her pain, Momo thinks about all the harsh criticism she has faced lately. People in the entertainment business have doubted her talent, and missing so much school has left her completely behind in her classes. She worries that her appearance is the main thing people notice, and fears it might affect her future opportunities. Unable to relate to her struggles, he bluntly admits he doesn't understand her point of view, but he firmly warns her that if she doesn't turn in her chemistry assignment soon, all her hard work to stay in school will be completely wasted. Later in the staff room, Tenjiku asks if the upset student ever turned in the assignment. Jimmy confirms she didn't. He notes that while he can let it slide for today, she will officially lose points if she doesn't hand it in by tomorrow. The older teacher expresses deep concern, worrying about what will happen to the teen's future if she fails the grade and drops out of school entirely. He coldly replies that going to high school is not required by law. He explains that as long as the teen is willing to work hard as his student, he will fully support her. But if she chooses to quit, she just becomes a stranger to him. Repeating his strict work rules, he states that wasting time on personal issues outside of school is not his job. He reminds his co-worker that they both have their own students to focus on, and his only duty is to be a teacher. Just as he stands his ground about his strict rules, the door suddenly opens. Maki steps into the room, looking for the math teacher for a mysterious reason. In the staff room, Tenjiku asks Maki why she is visiting. Glaring at Jimmy, the talented artist bitterly complains that he called her in. Instead of giving a straight answer, the math teacher challenges her to guess why. When she acts stubborn, he calmly points out that even though she likes to break the rules, she still showed up without making a scene. Thinking he found out about her secret modeling job, she gets defensive and brings it up herself. He hands her a required permission slip for working in the entertainment business, bluntly saying he doesn't actually care about her private life. The real reason he called her in is that she also didn't turn in her chemistry homework. He warns her that she will fail the class if she doesn't hand it in by tomorrow. Out in the hallway, Momo hears the artist storming out of the office and complaining about the strict teacher. Realizing her rival is also missing the chemistry assignment, the former model confronts her. Frustrated, the artist harshly pushes the teen to the floor, coldly saying that lower-class people are invisible to her before walking away. Picking herself up, the teen refuses to give up. Spotting Banri nearby, she begs the quiet girl to let her copy the homework so she can turn hers in before her rival does. But the frail girl reveals she already handed hers in. Without the girls knowing, someone secretly took pictures of their hallway fight. The photos are quickly posted online, along with a viral message exposing the artist's dark secrets. The post reveals that the artist was the mean bully who originally leaked the model's trouble with the teacher, purposely planning her downfall. The whole school instantly turns against the artist. Reading the intense hate online, she completely panics, horrified that her secret cyberbullying has been traced back to her. Meanwhile, this sudden change in public opinion gives the teen model an amazing second chance. During a comeback interview, a reporter asks if the recent bullying news proves that her trouble with the teacher was just a big misunderstanding. Showing surprising maturity, the teen refuses to play the victim. She takes full responsibility, admitting that she purposely caused the trouble and dragged innocent people into her mess. When she awkwardly admits to accidentally flirting with him, the interviewer teasingly asks if she actually likes the teacher. After a brief quiet pause, she strongly denies it. Her career quickly bounces back, landing her right back on the covers of major fashion magazines. Back at school, the disgraced artist crushes one of the magazines in pure anger. Walking up to her defeated rival, the teen model smugly points out that the artist's short modeling career is officially over. Refusing to accept defeat, the furious artist accuses the model of planning the viral leak and using the quiet girl to sabotage her. Momo confidently brushes off the accusation. She admits she suspected their friend group of writing the mean messages on the chalkboard at first, but notes that the online bullying went way too far. Taking the high road, the teen model challenges Maki to stop hiding behind her friends and face her directly if she wants a real fight. To rub it in, the model proudly announces she already turned in her chemistry homework and got a passing grade, officially beating her rival in class. She then turns to Banri, happily sharing that she scored a B, though the quiet girl casually replies that she got an A. Left boiling with anger, the disgraced artist obsessively reads the hate comments online. Realizing she has zero supporters, even when she uses fake accounts to defend herself, she decides that neither the model nor the quiet girl is smart enough to plan the leak. Instead, she blames Jimmy entirely. She tells herself that the strict, single math teacher must have a secret crush on the young model. She thinks he used his power to dig up dirt and ruin the artist just to play favorites. Scrolling through the model's social media, the artist finds a happy comeback post where the teen apologizes for past misunderstandings and promises to return stronger than ever. Seeing so much public support for her rival pushes the artist right over the edge. Her jealousy completely blinds her to reality, and she keeps insisting she is still the cuter one. Her bitter spiral is suddenly interrupted by Tsubaki and the rest of the elite group. Pretending to care, the politician's daughter acts sorry about the artist's ruined reputation and insists they are still her friends. Playing the victim, the artist complains about how unfair everything is. Taking advantage of her weakness, the group leader asks if she is really going to let the model get away with this. She sinisterly suggests a cruel payback plan as she slides a stolen bottle of dangerous laboratory chemicals onto the desk. Meanwhile, down in the chemistry lab, the math teacher is doing a normal check of the dangerous supplies. Checking off the strong chemicals, he immediately notices that one bottle is missing. Realizing this is a very serious problem, he calmly notes that he will definitely be working overtime tonight to handle the incoming crisis. Rumors about the missing laboratory chemical spread quickly among the students, with fearful whispers about the severe damage those kinds of liquids can cause. Out in the schoolyard, Tsubaki continues to deeply manipulate Maki. The politician's daughter suggests that Maki doesn't even need to cause serious physical harm. Just ruining the teen model's clothes or hair with the stolen chemicals would be more than enough to terrify her into dropping out or transferring schools. To seal the deal, the group leader promises that even if the prank goes wrong, she feels her connections make it easy to avoid getting into trouble. Holding the bottle tightly as she walks through the empty hallways, the disgraced artist thinks about how much damage the liquid could do. She stops in an empty classroom, glaring at an old magazine featuring Momo. Remembering her rival's bold challenge to stop hiding behind the elite group and face her directly, the artist's jealousy boils over. She makes a cruel decision to ruin the teen model once and for all. Meanwhile, in the staff room, Jimmy-sensei finishes grading the makeup exams. Seeing that the young model scored an impressive 80, Tenjiku is super happy, thrilled that the teen successfully passed both her math and literature tests. The older teacher celebrates the fact that the girl's modeling career is officially safe from being held back in school. Despite this happy moment, the math teacher remains completely emotionless. The other staff members criticize his cold attitude, wishing he could show just a little bit of happiness for his students' hard work. Brushing off their complaints, he bluntly reminds his cheerful co-worker that several of her own students in Class 1B actually failed their exams. He coldly warns her to stop worrying about other classes and focus on her own job before she misses the chance to save the students who actually need her help. As he abruptly leaves the room, the rest of the staff gossips about his unusually harsh mood. They guess he is just stressed about the missing chemical bottle, which he has to report to the principal by the end of the week if he can't find it. The staff continues to gossip about Jimmy staying late to search for the missing supplies. Outside the staff room, he finds Momo nervously waiting for her test results. Confirming that she successfully passed, he praises her hard work and gives Bonri credit for tutoring her. He explains that students helping students is often the best way to learn. Finally dropping his serious face, he offers the two girls a warm, genuine smile. Watching from the doorway, Tenjiku realizes his past cold remarks about being a stranger were just strict work rules. Eager to support him, she offers to help search for the missing bottle and invites him to a fun trip to a new local cafe to celebrate. Politely but firmly turning down both offers, he walks away to continue his solo search. Not giving up, the older teacher decides the girls will just celebrate without him. As the young model rushes to her classroom to grab her bag, the quiet girl looks up the new cafe online. Spotting a specific cake on their menu, a sudden worrying thought hits her. Inside the empty classroom, the teen model is suddenly cornered by Maki. Holding the open bottle, she threatens to permanently ruin her rival's looks and career. She bitterly confesses that she doesn't even want to do something this terrible, but feels it is the only way to win back her spot in Tsubaki's friend group. Not scared of the dangerous threat, the teen model boldly asks if clinging to rich bullies is truly worth losing her own identity. She fiercely challenges the artist to stop relying on mean, cowardly tricks and start acting like her own person instead of a puppet for the elite girls. Momo demands that her rival face her directly instead of using cheap tricks. Breaking down in tears, Maki confesses that if she had any real way to beat the teen model, she would have done it a long time ago. Overwhelmed by her deep insecurities, the disgraced artist blames the model for forcing her to spend her entire life living in her shadow. Suddenly, Jimmy casually walks in and interrupts the tense standoff. Completely ignoring the dangerous weapon, he asks for the missing chemical bottle back. The teen model is shocked by his sudden appearance, but he simply scolds the artist for taking school property without permission. Calling her by her attendance number, he coldly calls her simple-minded and brushes off her dramatic threats as totally meaningless. Panicking, the former model begs the calm teacher to stop provoking the upset girl. Furious, the artist accuses the math teacher of exposing her dark secrets online. He bluntly denies it, repeating his strict boundaries. He explains that he has absolutely no interest in their private lives or internet drama, revealing that the school actually hires official internet monitors to watch over those kinds of off-campus issues. Firmly reminding her that he is a teacher, not a friend, he demands she hand over the bottle. Refusing to accept his logical explanation, Maki insists that he is just covering for the model out of obvious favoritism. Overwhelmed by jealousy and frustration, she loses control and spills the liquid, accidentally hitting the math teacher instead of her target. Meanwhile, in the schoolyard, Nazasa asks Tsubaki if she plans to use her family's influence to protect Maki. Tsubaki calmly says she won't help, explaining that Maki is no longer useful to her.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away. Had to find the person